I'm sorry for the delay. We will begin here just in a moment. And thank you for being here. Today is Monday, October the 12th. It is a regular meeting of the Kaufman County Commissioners Court. We have a large attendance here this morning. I appreciate you being here. We will commence with our regular program here just in a moment. We as normal, we'll open our meeting, and I don't know if you can hear me or not. We'll try to speak up as loud as we can since we have such a large group. We'll begin with our invocation, and I will ask Ken Leonard, who is a minister, to come to the microphone and give our invocation. We will then have the Pledge of Allegiance to both of the American flag and the Texas flags, and then we will move immediately into remarks from visitors. If you are here today and would like to address the Commissioners Court, we have a sign-in sheet that is located by the sheriff's over there. He will present that to me, and we will go down through the people that are signed up and what you wish to talk about. I would ask that if you have an agenda item that you wish to speak about that's on the agenda, that is the item that you would be allowed to speak on. If you wish to speak in an open forum where you can talk about an item that is not on the agenda that you would like to bring not only to the Commissioners Court, our understanding, or bring it to our information for information purposes, certainly you can do that. Where there are a number of you who wish to speak to the court about a similar item, we have a number of items on our agenda this morning. I would ask, where possible, that you combine those and do that, and hopefully keep it to 3 or 4 people, maybe 5. We are probably going to look as a Commissioners Court in our rules of procedure a little bit later on about how we manage that so that we do use our valuable time together. But that being said, this is a democracy. You've heard me say several times. It is an opportunity for people to come and express themselves, and certainly we wish to hear that. And before Mr. Leonard gives our open prayer, I would remind everybody, and this is a courtroom. We are in session as a court, and I would expect people to be respectful. And also, we ask you to get to the point and then let us hear the information in a respectful manner. If that does not happen, and certainly know, and I would not imagine this would ever occur, certainly I hope it does not here, but if someone uses foul language, or if someone goes above what is considered to be respectful, in my opinion, since I am the judge of this court, I will ask you to stop. If you do not stop, I will ask the sheriff to escort you out of the meeting. So please, let's not even go there. Let's hear the business of the meeting and then move forward as we do that. So, if you would join me now in standing, and we'll ask
Shall we pray? Father, we thank you so much that you loved us and that you sent your son for us. And Father, we thank you for blessing us to live in this country, in this state, in this county. And Father, we sometimes take for granted the freedom that we enjoy. Father, please help for all of us to remember that we're heirs to the great experiment, that we're brothers and sisters together, that the enemy is not each other. It's people who would take away our freedom. Father, we ask that you give us temperance. Father, give us patience, and help us to remember that once we leave this chamber, that we're all neighbors. And Father, help for us to conduct ourselves that way. Father, you promised us that if we'd ask for wisdom, you'd grant it to us abundantly. And Father, we're asking for wisdom, and we're trusting that you'll give it to us. Father, please help for all of us to be the best servants for you that we can be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Friday, we have a number of people that are signed up this morning, and I will start with, on the item here, or as they signed in. First one is Donnell Fuller, who is here from County Road 346. Ms. Fuller, if you would come forward, and you'll be sure to speak into the microphone so everybody can hear. Can you hear us at the back of the room? Okay. Okay. Turn it up just a little bit. And Ms. Fuller and Angie, I'm going to ask you to keep time. Clerk does not have her clock over this morning, so if you would be the timekeeper, and we will give everybody a 15-second notice that your time is approaching, limited to 3 minutes.
Before you set the time clock, could I ask that for a matter of record, my name on the 14th of September was listed as Lynette Fuller, and I need for that to be corrected, and that you be sure and get my name as Lynelle Fuller.
We will do that.
And if that doesn't count on my time, I appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing that to attention. So your time is up now, so you may begin.
All right. First, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here again, once again, to address a very hazardous issue that we have on County Road 346, and I pray that the Lord would fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and shut it up when I'm setting up. Right now, I am a previous educator, and for the last 20 years, I've worked for a major university in the registrar's department as a transcript analyst. I work with grades on a daily basis, and it's customary when a student has not fulfilled the requirements of a class, they're given an incomplete. And then once they have not fulfilled that, they're given an F. Right now, I think that Mr. Shade's transcript would read an incomplete. I'd like to recap the steps and the results of what has been done concerning the problem on our road to this point. First, it's always been our desire to at least have a water truck put on the road to aid in decreasing the dust, and so that we can have better visibility when the rock trucks are rolling. Trinity agreed to pay $3,500 a month for the expense of a water truck and probably an employer to run the truck. Commissioner Shane at some point determined that this was not enough to cover the cost, and also that he did not have a water truck that was large enough available to him to do the job, that it would require too many trips back and forth to our road from town filled with water. So it was suggested that water be taken from the rock quarry, in which he said that he did not have a driver that was certified to enter the mine to get the water to put into the truck. So the manager of Trinity suggested that Trinity could pump the water via a pipe to the road so that a truck could easily be filled. So Trinity overcame this first objection to the water truck issue. Next, the commissioner voiced a concern that he didn't feel that $3,500 was probably adequate to cover those expenses and to facilitate the the job, so Trinity overcame that objection and raised the amount of money to $5,000 a month to cover the cost of the water truck and somebody to operate it. It was our understanding after a conversation with Commissioner Shane that a water truck had been obtained and was in Edgewood being painted.
Yeah, 15 seconds.
At this point, after negotiations again, and still we have not seen a water truck on our road, it was decided between Trinity and the Commissioner that Trinity would provide all materials needed to chip seal or seal coat the road so that,
Your time has expired.
okay.
Next person on the agenda is James Fuller, who also wishes to speak on County Road 346.
I'd like to convey my time to Linnell. Thank you.
Okay, you're giving your time to Mrs.
Yes, sir.
Fuller. So Mrs. Fuller, you may begin, you'll have 40 minutes.
So at the time that it was agreed that Trinity would provide the materials to chip coat or seal coat our road, the water truck offer was put on hold. Still the dust billows, and we remain having an enormously dangerous situation. We understand that on Friday of this past week, that our commissioner contacted a resident on our road, whose name I cannot give because we couldn't reach him for permission, and told him that the road improvements were not going to proceed forward. He would not allow the chip seal to be placed on the road because Trinity would not pay for an emulsion that our commissioner felt was needed. Trinity was not in agreement that this emulsion was necessary for the short term that the road would remain a county road. It is on the docket to possibly become a farm-to-market road in the future. The peculiar thing with this whole fiasco is that it should be of little concern to our commissioner whether the road would hold up to the truck traffic without the emulsion, as Trinity has agreed to bear the responsibility of maintenance and repair to the road. It seems at every turn that our commissioner has been doggedly determined to thwart all efforts to improve the conditions and safety of County Road 346. We are voicing our concern for 11 families that live on County Road 346 between FM 2728 and the Rock Quarry. In addition to these 11 families, there are many other families and also a school bus in the Van Zandt County that use 346 daily to get to FM 2728. These families and children are also at risk of being in a serious accident due to blinding dust clouds. We do not speak without first-hand knowledge. Both my husband and I are home during the day, during the week, to see what's going on the road. It is a puzzlement to me that 346 west of 2728 has been both asphalted and seal coated, yet the population on the section with the asphalt is not much more than the 11 families that reside on our road. That section does not receive the traffic of the 80,000-ton rock trucks. By not doing the improvements on our road, who wins? Will it be the school bus loaded with children that is smashed and trapped between two 80,000-pound trucks? When all that can be said is, if only.
You have 15 seconds.
And you will find that your I grade that you have earned has turned to an F. Do you want that on your permanent record for the remainder of your life? You say that this is drama and it will never happen. May I remind you that these...
Your time has expired. Also, we have another person here that wishes to speak on the same subject, Chuck Shepherd on County Road 346. You'd like to give your time to, pardon? I don't think it makes any difference whether he owns property on 346 or not, but I mean, okay. For the audience members, Mr. Shane has just informed me that Mr. Shepherd does not own property on County Road 346. You may begin.
Okay. You say that this is a drama and it will never happen. May I remind you that these scenarios play out all over our country daily. Rock trucks being one of the worst causes of severe accidents in the country. They play out in thick fog, blinding snow, blizzards, smoke from grass fires, torrential downpours in a hurricane, All of these conditions have led to horrific accidents. Of course, those conditions we have no control over. Dense dust is equally as hazardous. It seriously impedes visibility, causing much the same conditions that you would find from those things that we cannot control. All we're asking for is a water truck, for something in the meantime before a more permanent solution could be made for our problem. And Trinity has agreed to pick up the cost for that.
Thank you very much. The next item, or the next person that is signed up, and I appreciate Mrs. Fuller, the folks that relented their time, that we kept it to 3 people. I think you got your point across, and I would ask that others consider that as we move down this fairly long list of people that are here today to speak. The next would be Shirley McSpadden, who wishes to speak concerning the memorial garden. Ms. McSpadden, if you would come to the microphone.
Well, I think I can talk louder from here.
Well, ma'am, I would like,
Okay.
we're recording the meeting, and it helps the clerk's office to have a good volume
No, I'm loud now.
and just right here if you would, and thank you for being here. I know the microphone might be a little unusual for you, but we appreciate you being here. You made it in.
With the court's permission, I would like to relinquish my time to Carl Thomas.
Okay, you'd like to relinquish your time. Thank you, Mrs. McSpadden.
Thank you.
And Mr. Thomas, Sheriff Thomas, if you would like to come forward, and you're also here to speak about this same subject, the memorial at the Kaufman County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, that's correct. Please forgive me if my voice is a little bit weak. I have a very bad sinus problem. And I really don't know where to begin about this memorial. I just don't know what to say, Commissioner Gonzalez. Why you oppose it, why anyone would want to oppose it. I can't understand why the Tea Party felt that it was adequate to attack me, my deceased son, who the memorial was going to be named after, and other law enforcement people. I just don't understand it. I'm going to ask you, Commissioner Gonzalez, if you agree with this letter that's put out by the Tea Party. I know there are some honorable people in the Tea Party, but I know there's some people in the Tea Party that are not honorable, that want to do nothing except destroy law enforcement in this community and in this county. And unfortunately, Commissioner, I'm afraid you're one of them. Now, I don't know why they decided to go and attack Carl Thomas, my son. You know, when I read this, I haven't slept hardly at all in the last couple of days. This has really been taxing on my family, on me personally, on my daughter Wendy, on my wife who is disabled, can't even get out of the bed. I didn't even tell her about this article until yesterday. I showed it to her. She read the article. She cried all night because of this. It's not easy to stand here as a father who has lost a child and see that child attacked by a commissioner and by members of the Kaufman County Tea Party. Nobody in this county is more conservative than what I and what my family are. And we've always been supporters of the Tea Party. But I find this atrocious. It's not even accurate. It's not even close to being accurate. And furthermore, the person who wrote this op-ed is like a thief in the night, didn't have the courage to even sign. And I'm going to ask you, Commissioner Gonzalez, and any of the rest of you, if you want to sign it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Right.
You know, you knew that the garden was going to be built. Now, this op-ed has indicated the only people that knew this garden was going to be built was Commissioner Allen and Judge Bruce Wood. And that is just a lie. And I can prove it because I have a photograph of Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Allen, and Judge Wood, all three attending the memorial. How can they deny that? Furthermore, to further the attack, they likened the memorial to a hot dog stand. I'm not making this up. It's in the op-ed that was written by the Kaufman County Tea Party.
Sheriff, you have 15 seconds.
I think I'm gonna get some more time, Judge, so
Okay.
I'm not quite through.
All right, so the next person that wishes to speak on this same issue is Wendy Thomas. Wendy, are you here?
I am, and I'd like to relinquish my time to my father, Kaufman.
You will yield your time to your father.
Yes, Judge, thank you.
I find it disgusting. We have supported this county, we've supported all just causes in this county, financially, and we put our money where our mouth is, and we also work for the just causes in this county. Wendy has served on many committees, many boards, she's worked on these bond elections to get things passed for the county, but yet she's attacked. This memorial has nothing to do with what is written about my family. Even Judge Wood was attacked, and he had nothing to do with this. They make it sound like Wendy went to the Kaufman County Jail, took a shovel, started digging up a garden. And that is a lie. The sheriff approved this. And in our opinion, the sheriff has the authority to approve it because he's in charge of the security of the buildings in Kaufman County. And that would also include the grounds. They act like we're trying to build a high-rise building out there, which in fact is a lie. There's about a 40 by 40 spot out there by the jail. The memorial was going to be built to honor my son and the law enforcement officers in Kaufman County. It was going to be called the Carl Skip Thomas Memorial, but he wasn't going to be the only name out there. All the names of the people in Kaufman County, law enforcement, are going to be on that plaque, or on some form of a plaque out there. I'm really tired of this. I feel maligned, I'm insulted, I don't appreciate the attacks from the Tea Party. And, Commissioner, I don't know how much you had to do to write with this, but I'm sure you had a lot of input. So, with that in mind, I want you to tell me, do you know about this? And why did you violate the open meetings law by showing up at the memorial when you were not asked to? The judge was there, Commissioner Allen was there. When you showed up, I violated open meetings law. I don't see anybody complaining about that. I'm not even complaining about it. But I want you to know that that is a violation of law. I want to ask you once again, do you confirm that you're in agreement with this, or to not deny that you're in agreement with this attack on my family?
I'll speak on the agenda item,
Okay, that's fair enough. Secondly, or thirdly, I want to ask you to resign. That's how serious this issue is. You violated open meetings law. You have been a part of the attack on my family, and there may be some libels issued. I try to be good to you.
Mr. Thomas, let me interrupt just a second. I cut you off early that I should have a moment ago. You had been yielded the time by Mrs. McSpadden. You still have 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining if you wish to use that. I apologize for doing that, but you still have 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Okay.
Thank you, George. I don't mean to. It's not easy for me to have to get up here like this and talk like this. I'm a former sheriff in Dallas County. I've been a police officer in law enforcement for over 20 years. I own a business here. We are a major employer in this county. We employ a lot of people. We pay a lot of taxes. And I don't come to the commissioner's court looking for trouble. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to stand here and allow my family to be attacked, especially my son who's deceased and cannot appear here. But I will be his champion, always. And that's why I'm here now, because I'm championing the cause of my son. And I'm also defending my daughter. And Commissioner, it's a good thing, probably, that my wife could not get out of bed this morning to be here, because she's so disabled. She's bedridden. When I showed her this, she cried all night long. I haven't slept in about 2 days. I can't believe that y'all would make this kind of attack on me. If you disagree with this memorial, that's one thing. That's fine. You have a right to do that. But you know, we're being attacked out of politics. And as she says in this op-ed, she's attacking Wendy because Wendy is Brian Beaver's campaign treasurer to be sheriff. What's our great sheriff here retired? He is this term. She's attacking him because Wendy is the treasurer of Brian Beaver's. And we are supporters of Beaver's. And we're proud to say that we are. Because when my son passed, he was the first one in my house. He brought food, he brought comfort. He took over the arrangements for the funeral of my son, which was, I just couldn't bear up to it. I hope none of you have ever lost a son or a daughter. If you have, I want to hug you, because it is a threatening situation to be with you all your life. And to have someone like the radical members of this Kaufman County Tea Party and this commission resolve to attack someone that can't help them, can't defend themselves, and to attack people in this community that care about this community, that get up here and work hard and put their money where the mouth is.
You got 15 seconds.
I want to ask you also, Commissioner, to apologize to my family for this attack. And I want to ask any of you who feel that you agree with this attack, I want y'all to also sign. I'm going to frame it, and I'm going to put it in the newspaper, in all the newspapers. So don't be a coward like the coward that wrote this and did the same, or use the bogus name. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much. Next person is Greg Stark.
Mr. Thomas.
Greg, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Would
I was
you-
going to give Mr. Thomas my
You
time.
were going to relinquish your time, okay. Mr. Thomas is finished. Next person is Lori, or Rory. I'm not sure I can read the handwriting. I believe it's about the same subject.
Judge Wood, I think she may have gone because I tried to find her, she won, her last, we were trying to ask her who her last name, because none of us could read her name,
All right?
and we never did get a response, so she may be gone.
Well, I'm glad to know I'm the only one that can't read her name. So.
Well, the deputy and I, neither one can read her name.
Okay, well, we will move on, and if this person
So we'll
is
cross
here,
her off.
that, unless she reappears, we will move on from
Okay.
her. The next person is Mr. Leonard, Ken Leonard. Ken, are you here to talk about the memorial, or are you here to talk about something else?
No, I'm here to talk about the memorial.
Okay, come forward then.
Judge and Commissioners, I seriously doubt I can say what I want to say in 3 minutes, but I'll do my best. The last time I was here before Commissioners Court was over 2.5 years ago. Y'all were discussing building the courts building, and the 2 people who spoke were me and Mike McClellan. We walked out of here, and I told Mike McClellan, you can't be standing out here in the open. And he said, I know exactly who killed Mark Castle, standing right there on the sidewalk. 2.5 years have passed, and there's been no discussion of a memorial for Mike McClellan, Cynthia McClellan, and Mark Hassey. And that's something this court needs to address. The other thing I want to talk about, I gave you copies of the procedure we went through when the Veterans Memorial was built. It was a procedure that took years. It started with a resolution. And this is the site plan that commissioners paid for, that lays out where everything out there is going to go, where a courts building is going to be, where future jail space is going to be. If this site plan is amended, it needs to be amended by commissioners court, because we're the ones that are, back then, we were the ones that approved it. My heart goes out because I voted for and supported Sheriff Thomas in two counties. When we lived in Dallas County, he came with Smokey Joe Larson to the Broadway Church of Christ and talked about how many people were being led to Christ in the Dallas County Jail. And since then, my family and theirs have been joined at the heart, honestly, and my heart goes out. And I would not criticize anything about that memorial, except county commissioners have a job. And we can't force subsequent commissioner courts to follow this plan, but it takes commissioner court to deviate from that plan. And I would ask y'all to please, and we have a big mess now, and I understand y'all didn't create it, but it's up to y'all. Y'all ran for office, you sit in the big chairs, and it's up to y'all to sort it out. And I would ask that y'all pray for wisdom, just like I did at the beginning, because it's got to be sorted out, and it's got to be sorted out. But please do not forget Mike McClellan, Cynthia McClellan, and Mark Hassey, who were killed in the line of duty. And it's been 2.5 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person that wishes to speak on this item is Larry Kozlowski. Mr. Kozlowski.
I wish to relinquish my time to Mr. Myers.
Okay, Mr. Myers, Ray Myers is next to speak on the memorial. And Mr. Myers, you will have a total of 6 minutes when you get up here.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners, for this time. I'm here to show support for all police officers who have died in the line of duty in Kaufman County and throughout the entire nation. Our country's at a crossroads, and we've all been aware. All we have to do is watch TV, read the paper, and so forth. And there's a total attack on our police officers all over the nation, and we all need to stand firm and back the blue. In the Kaufman County Tea Party, we've had 3 meetings. We've gone to 3 different Back to Blue programs in the past month. We even had a program for Back to Blue at our recent program with Colonel Allen West. I also agree with Ken Leonard. It's time that we support a memorial for Mike McClellan, Mark Hassey. Also, a gentleman got killed by the name of Robert Stout from Kaufman County. And also in 2005, a gentleman got killed in Kaufman County in the line of duty, a constable. His name was John D. Burke in 1905. We have to show support for all these people. We do Back to Blue. We're working, we have a working relationship with the Kaufman County Sheriff's Office, the Rockwall County Sheriff's Office, the Van County Sheriff's Office, and also with Sheriff Andy Lauterbach, who is the state chair of the Sheriff's Association. We plan on attending. We also attend on attending the Back to Blue organization that is supposed to be held at Shannon Park in Kaufman. I also agree that we need to be very, very mindful of people who are deceased and who have given their heart and soul in Kaufman County for the things that they believe that is right. And I agree with the sheriff on that. I really do. We have no problem at all with this memorial. Absolutely not. All we believe or all we're thinking about is to follow the ordinance, and the county commissioners should be involved in the process. That's a major thing that we have to work on. And I would ask the sheriff, is the sheriff here? Do you have the sole authority over the grounds in Kaufman, over the sheriff's office and everything? And do you know if there's any ordinance where you have to follow procedure to get a donation or something like that on there?
There is a law that opens up. This donation's in, when it comes to the sheriff's office.
Okay. Well, as a private citizen, I'm reading the section in the law of the county. Okay? Texas Code number section 81032 of the Texas Local Government Code, which states, the Commissioner's Court may accept a gift, grant, donation, bequest, or devise of money or other property on behalf of the county for the purpose of performing a function conferred by law on the county or county officer. We have not found any law that allows the sheriff or any other county official to accept donations for the county. Obviously, there must be a case in this item which would not be on, this must be a case of this item that would not be on the agenda. I'm not here to voice my approval or disapproval of any donation, but to ask why the sheriff's office and his department. I also want to know why Judge Wood would allow this to proceed if each of you knew the law about donations specifically prohibit a donation, especially the Commissioner's Court before construction, and I understand construction has already started. I understand that now Ms. Thomas is wanting to include others on the memorial, which is just fine. Why the change in plans? Nothing has been presented in an open forum to the taxpaying citizens who will be actually paying in perpetuity for the maintenance, the lighting, irrigation, and so forth. I understand that the placement of the item on today's agenda is an attempt to further keep the taxpaying citizens about finding out about who the memorial will memorialize, who will pay, who will maintain before it's complete. Passage of this item today will further promote the secrecy of the project. All we're saying is, let's look at it and let's follow the procedure. The perception is, we don't want money to influence this thing. And what we found here, in most cases, to understand why something that appears to be unethical and probably illegal, one only needs to follow the money trail. That's politics. That's going to go on everywhere, and it's still going on. Research and recent records show that we have found that Sheriff Burns has received over $4,000 in donations from the Thomas firm. Mr. Beavers has received donations of $24,000 from the law firm, from his firm. And also, I think it's good to know that the sheriff, that the Judge Wood has received $1,000 from him. This total is a little over $29,000. While Ms. Thomas has a right to donate to anybody she wants to, and that's great, we understand that. The appearance of this public officials receiving substantial contributions could appear to have an influence over their decisions to let this proceed without Commissioner's Court approval. Seems like this kind of thing legitimizes distrust when you've got money like that involved. Let's work together with Ms. Thomas in open and by the rules and the law to create a memorial that honors all county officials.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The next person that's on the agenda or that's signed up to speak is Brian Martin. And he also wished to speak on the memorial issue of his right here this morning. What? Yes. Okay, you want to relinquish your time to the sheriff to come back up. And I call you sheriff because you are the former sheriff of Dallas County, and once a sheriff, always a sheriff. You know, like I do it.
Thank you, Judge. I'm also a former U.S. Marine, so you call me Sergeant. Mr. Myers, you're so far out of left field, it's unbelievable. You know, this is a free society. First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States allows us to support who we want to support. And as long as we can afford to make contributions to those people, to elect good people, we intend to do it. You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth like you might want people to believe. I started this business when I left the sheriff's office in 1981, and I was the sole guard, the sole bookkeeper, the sole accountant. We built this business from the ground up and turned it to a multi-million-dollar corporation, and we do business in 35 states. And I'm proud of that fact. And I'm not running from it, and I'm not hiding it. And I'm glad that we can support Brian Beavers. And I may give him another $25,000. And I may give the sheriff $5,000 or $25,000. I may give Bruce Wood $25,000. I may give J.P. Howard $25,000. I might give Steve. No, you're not getting anything. But isn't it a wonderful country when people can do this? It's called capitalism and a capitalistic society. And that doesn't negate the fact that you attack my family. And that's my concern. The rest of it don't matter to me. The memorial garden doesn't really matter to me, other than the fact that it should be done, because people in law enforcement deserve that, especially this day and age. And for you or anyone else to attack the sheriff, who's really built an excellent department here and has protected the citizens of this county. And shame on you, and shame on anybody else that's done that. And shame on you, Commissioner. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go back now to another item. And again, I do appreciate where you can, if you can consolidate your comments to one speaker, or so we can move the process along. The next item that we would go back to is an item called Commissioner Issues. This is from Mike Crawford, and Mr. Crawford, I believe you are here. And just to make sure that we're all on the same page this morning, I was contacted prior to the meeting starting by Commissioner Rosales about whether you should be allowed to speak to the same issues that you spoke earlier about last time. And so I talked with the DA's office, and I am going to grant that permission because there was no reason for me not to do that. We don't have rules in place that would prohibit that. Commissioner Rosales and I have talked, and I've also given him the same opportunity where he can address 3 minutes as well. And Commissioner, I will ask you to do the same thing, since you will be speaking as a private citizen. If you would go to the microphone and get ready to do that.
Excuse me, now, is he going to be speaking as a commissioner or as a private citizen?
I'm asking him to, I think he wants to speak as a private contractor.
Yes. He should probably speak as both, since he wants to be both.
Well,
That'll be addressed.
let's go ahead. So you may begin, and thank you for being here.
Well, I'd like to comment on the Tea Party that was quoting the penal code or whatever. I was hoping that he could bust out was one for, he was talking about the conflict of interest forms that should be filled out there, but he didn't. But anyway, came back, I wanted to clarify. After I left here last time, I read it in the paper and was talking, and then I think even the DA's office, whatever, I want to clarify, I'm not just an upset land or property owner because my property, a little bit of my property got tore up. I'm upset because the county commissioner / private contractor, I don't know what, did it without my permission, without the city's permission, and without the county's permission. I'm doing it because I feel like it's an abuse of authority. I feel like it's a liability. And I said all this. But as we left that day, I go and look at in the paper and stuff, and it's like he's just mad because we were working in the road ditch. No, that's not it. There's a such thing as liability.
And that's one of the things I was upset about. Because who's liable? I was upset that I know that, if I were to have done that as a citizen, I would have probably been arrested. Why you haven't been, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm gonna find out. Because it's trespassing. I talked to the mayor. The mayor came to my residence. You referred me to the DA's office and to the mayor. You wouldn't answer your question. It's just like the rest of these diversions. I guess you and this Tea Party or whoever, I don't know nothing about you or them. There's a lot of diversions. Every time you get into a situation, you've got an answer. It's not, it may not have anything to do with what I'm asking. You sent me paperwork. Boy, I love that. I really love that. I asked for where you got permission to come onto my property. You sent me a project, an interlocal agreement between the county and the city. That has nothing to do with my property. That has nothing to do with your private company and my property, or you as a commissioner in my property. You should have an agreement for my property. Then you send me this one, and I don't know who filled this out, by the way. I really, I don't know if you grew up in Kaufman in the school. Hopefully they've come a long way since you've been there. This has nothing to do with my property. This was, actually, this one was slashed through, the dates were slashed through, changed, I don't know what that's all about. It's by email, so I didn't do it.
Your time has expired. I forgot to give you the 15-second warning, but your time has expired, so the next person that wishes to speak on this issue is Sylvia Crawford. Ms. Crawford, are you here?
I'd like to defend my time to Mr. Kaufman.
Okay, you'd like to yield your time to Mr. Crawford, you may begin.
This paperwork here, which was dated 5/11 for a dollar amount of $5,400 and I can't see it, $42, whatever it is, for Timber Creek, such and such pasture road. This doesn't work for that date on my property. So you're not going to manipulate me. You may manipulate the DA's office, whoever, I don't know. But you're not going to manipulate me with this paperwork. As far as I'm concerned, and I don't know the law, I'm not a lawyer, but as far as I'm concerned, it's almost fraudulent to give this to me, to try to manipulate me or trick me into you have permission to be on my property when you don't. I think, my opinion is you're so comfortable that they're going to protect you and defend you, you do whatever you want to do. As I said to you in your email. You're not going to do what you want to do with me. And I can tell you that. You're not going to manipulate and divert, get the little diversions. I mean, I read up on some of the stuff. That's pretty pathetic. If I wanted to, and I'm getting on another subject, if I wanted to donate some of my money and put a memorial in, I promise you, you wouldn't stop me. Because I'd go through whatever I had to. And for you or anybody else to attack a family like that you are pathetic. And whoever else has done it is pathetic. Now, a month and a half ago, I didn't even know who you were or any of you. And didn't care. Until you came on my property and you took, and when I questioned you, you said you were a commissioner, then you said you were a private contractor, then you went back to commissioner. You said you would charge me. Yes, sir, you did. You can sit there and lie all you want. That's what pissed, excuse my language, I'm sorry, made me so mad I went back in the house. And you know it. You can sit there and shake your head like you did last time. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Something's going to get resolved about this. And yes, I am upset. I see what you do with other people. Like I said, I didn't know who you were. But I go into, there's always rumors.
You got 15 seconds, thank you. You can go ahead and finish the 15 seconds. Next, go ahead.
Yeah, there's always rumors. But I seek out and look at some of the stuff. I almost want to believe it because of what you've done with me.
Okay, the 15 seconds is up. The next person on the agenda that wishes to speak is Roseanne Laura.
I'm giving Mr. Crawford my
You yield
time.
your time to
Yes,
Laura.
yes, Judge.
You may proceed. You have 3 minutes.
You know, it's very upsetting, Mr. Gonzalez, Commissioner, that I have to sit here as a taxpayer. I run a business as well. I'm missing out today. See, you're costing me money today. Because I have to come down here and go through this again. I asked this for to be put on the agenda. There are a lot more questions on, as far as, conflict of interest, commissioner's role, all this stuff. You would think that you would put that on the agenda, but you did not. You referred me, I know you referred me to the DA's office, but I didn't understand. But I have another question that was gonna be on the part of that agenda. If the county commissioner sets on a city's tax infrastructure board, he's also representing the county on certain issues, and as a commissioner voted to approve a certain issue, and then he's able to get a lucrative contract from a sub on this project, is there not supposed to be a conflict of interest disclosure form being filed with the county and posted? Because that's another issue that I have. But I need to know that. But my biggest thing is I want to get a resolution to trespassing on property, damaging my property. Somebody to show me who is liable if you're an employee or you were to got hurt on my property. I want to see a contract, something stating you allowing you to do this. Not this. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. None of that works. Because it doesn't say on that day that Jimmy was out or his employee or the commissioner can go on my private property and the mayor of that city who you referred me to. This is his word for him. Very nice older gentleman. I have a lot of respect for him. He said, Jimmy Joe knows better than this. He shouldn't be out here. I'm going to have a talk.
15 seconds remaining, Mr. Crawford.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. The next person on the agenda is Terry Crow. Is Mr. Crow here?
Yes.
Mr. Crow, you wish I'd like to yield your time to Mr. Crawford. You may proceed. You have 3 minutes.
And I have a question for the rest of the committee. Or anybody sitting up here. It's, this paperwork that Mr. Lazard emailed me. Is this typical? I mean, is this typical? I mean, question marks? You know, I run a business as well, and it says start date, question mark. Reason that question mark. Is that typical? Should we word this a little bit better? It's an open door. And the next question is he allowed to try to use these paperwork as a way to do what he wants to do? When he wants to do it. If that's the case, I don't need to come back. I probably will. Something's got to be done. I mean, you can't go around. I guess next thing you'll have the sheriff hat on. I don't know. disrespect, Judge, I mean, we're sitting in a courtroom, I don't, with all due respect, I don't think people would go for it if the DA had the judge's hat on. If the prosecuting attorney wore a judge's hat, I don't think that would work. So as a commissioner, you're walking around, you're calling the shots, as you see. That's how I feel. And before my 3 minutes are up, I know he's gonna have, I guess 3 minutes to come back, but I'll say a few minutes so I can say something back to him when he does.
If you have 1 minute left.
Well, let's say it.
I normally do not allow that, so I would prefer you go ahead and speak now.
So I got any time to say anything back afterwards?
No, you'll be through at that point.
I'm finished. I like to hear what he does say.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Commissioner, if you'd like to step around.
Oh, I need to say it.
Well, that is probably, last week and this week, that is the most dramatic account of a culvert installation I've ever heard. I think he should have been an attorney. But the fact of the matter is, he questioned me about cleaning out the road ditch in the city of Post Oak Bend, water easement along County Road 279. I had a subcontractor install a culvert for a project that is next door to Mr. Crawford's property. In doing so, we had to clean the ditch out to lower the culvert so that the culvert would flow full instead of going over the road. And as always, we cleaned the entrance and the exit of the culvert. The exit, in order for it not to stand in water, had to be cleaned out in front of Mr. Crawford's property. I have a picture there showing his property line with an existing survey stake there that shows that work was done in the city of Post Oak Bend's easement, the water easement for the road. I met him, shook hands with him, and explained to him why we did that. And he asked me if I did it as a commissioner or as a private contractor, and I explained to him it was as a private contractor. Since then, we've had multiple emails back and forth. At one point, he would ask me what my authority as a commissioner was to do that. And I told him I sent him a project agreement along with a continuing interlocal agreement with the city of Post Oak Bend. And then he referred to my ability to do it as a private contractor. And I told him we always do that, it's normal. You put a culvert in, you make sure you put it down low enough that it flows, it doesn't prohibit the flow of water. So that's what we did. And as far as his remarks about charging him, my comment to him was that most people have to pay to have the ditch cleaned out to that professional realm that we did. And he seemed to really get agitated at that point. And I explained to him that the ditch that we did was looked much more professional and drained better excuse me, than the ditch on the other side of his existing driveway. And he complained about not being able to mow the ditch on the other side of the drive. And I told him this side would be very easily mowed, and he complained about a hump. I told him as a private contractor, I would come back and finish it off when it rained and the ground softened up, because there was about a 2 or 3 inch hump there that he complained about. And since then he contacted the mayor. I have no idea what their discussion was. I also contacted the mayor, and he said he didn't see any problem with it and that the ditch had to be cleaned out. And so I don't understand what his demands are. He keeps going back and forth between the private contractor and the commissioner, and I provided him the paperwork as a commissioner. So this is a private issue between he and I expect to see him at Post Oak Bend City Council meeting tomorrow night.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is to hear from Lydia, not on the agenda, but the next person that wishes to address the board is Lydia Boone, who wants to talk about a ticket. Ms. Boone, please come forward. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Lisa Boone.
Lisa.
Yes, okay. I travel Kaufman County a lot to go to Poetry Community Christian School. And in the midst of doing so, I got a ticket. And my ticket says that I'm on 41 in the 45-mile-an-hour zone in front of the Terrell High School. There is a school zone that happens there during the time when the light is on. But during the time of 1:17, the light is not on to demonstrate a school zone. Yet I still only went 41 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, which I didn't speed. So I was looking at the fact that maybe we need to see about putting some times or something in front of Terrell High School about when the school zones are, because I think it's Northtown Road, right there, they have times on that, and they have a sitting officer. But this does not have a sitting officer, and I received this in the mail. It's $150. I can pay it, but I think everybody needs to be aware that that area does not signage a school zone of time. So, I might consider this matter another time. So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. The next person is Carol Cruz, I believe.
Yes.
Who wishes to speak about number 7, Travis Lane.
Hi, Carol Cruz. I've lived on Travis Lane since 1987. There is a racetrack at the end of our street, and I'm pretty sure all of the law enforcement agents are aware of it, and they've all been out at one time or another. I feel like it's unsafe for the residents. I'm mowing my ditch and beer bottles come flying out, and cans constantly. My mailbox has been run over twice. The traffic stacks up on the road. You can't have any visitors on a Sunday because they can't get through the traffic. The horse trailers going by is tearing up the road because there are many trailers that go by. I can't say for sure that most of the trips when they leave at high speeds are going to the Shell station for liquor, but it sure seems like that seems to be the case when they toss out bottles as they go by. I would like something done to the safety of all residents. Any children in that area will be taking their life in their hands across the street to visit a friend, because these people do not seem to care what is happening on the street, as long as they get to have their little fun party at the end of the street. They have an intercom system, which most of the time they're shut down before it gets late in the day, so don't really have an issue with it during the daytime. But I am the first house on the left when you turn down Travis Lane, and it's all the way to the other end of the street, and you can hear them shouting and the intercom system occasionally when the wind's in the right direction. So I worry about the state of the horses that I've seen going by, and how healthy it is for them, because I've seen some being ridden that certainly don't look old enough to be ridden, much less run with the body of a person on top of them. I've had horses for 30 years, and it's not something I would ever do to my horse at that age, ever. I would like them to stop running into my fence and then driving off, leaving it down, and my horse would stay. That happened one time. Luckily, my horse stayed behind the fence. A neighbor came out and saw them and went down to the house and asked them to fix it, which they did a semi-bad job, but at least the horse was able to stay inside. anyway, I just would like some issues to be done for that.
Thank you for being here. The next item is Mike Cruz, who's also here on number 7, Travis Lane. Cruz. This is actually on the agenda. You can speak, or you can actually speak later on.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, fellow citizens.
Thank you for being here.
And, yes, I was here on number 7 for that racetrack at the end of Travis Lane. To me, it is very unsafe for, especially in a dead-end street. Too much traffic, beats up the road, which is just horrible as it is. It also has my wife away, broken beer bottles, aluminum cans, Mondays like a tire, and all that stuff. The other thing is, the traffic seemed to slow down on Travis Lane, or even last night. Once they get up to 27, they're just jumping on their accelerators and stuff. And I know they have had several accidents out on, right in front of Travis Lane, 27 in County Road 143, and then all the way 27 down at 243. They've had accidents. Somewhere they've had to get care flagged. I'd like to see that racetrack closed so we don't have to worry about anybody else getting hurt. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The next person that wishes to speak is Cindy Kaufman, also on numbers 7 Travis.
Good morning, gentlemen. I also, as a citizen and taxpayer of Kaufman County as well, and I'm concerned, a safety concern with traffic, as Mr. Cruz just mentioned. My husband and I have also experienced people coming out, pulling out from Travis Lane with their horses into our lane. And we've had to literally slam on the brakes to keep them from hitting us. We've also been behind these trucks and horse trailers, pulling trailers, with the horses hanging out, which is very unsafe. But the horse trailer is doing this as well. Very unsafe. I did drive down there myself, witnessed all the beer bottles that are laying down in the ditches. Took pictures of that. I couldn't do them printed. But it concerns me, and I am aware of the accidents they just spoke about. There was a death a few months ago. I understand it was from drink and drive. I don't think anybody here wants to hear about someone dying. This racetrack, from what I understand, is owned by the gentleman that owned one over on 118. He was closed down. I don't know if he's the same owner. From what I understand, he is. And I just feel like the court needs to take citizens of Kaufman County into respect of their safety and their concerns, and get someone, the sheriff's department or someone, to look into this and take care of our citizens out there on the highway and on Travis Lane and move. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. The last person I have on my list that signed in to speak is Judy Josie. Ms. Josie, if you'd like to come forward, and I believe you have the topic of roads that you would like to discuss.
Yes, Judge, and if I may just address one other issue that's been on the agenda.
There is an open forum, you can
Okay,
discuss anything.
thank you very much. So I'll just say good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Thank you for this time. I'd like to raise a point with Mr. Thomas. With due respect, sir, I'm a member of the Tea Party of Kaufman County, and I am not a radical. And also, you accused our Commissioner, Mr. Gonzalez, of being a whistleblower earlier this morning. But just don't be so certain that he was the whistleblower. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Gonzalez for the fine work he's doing in Precinct 1. Our roads are finally getting to the point where we can drive on most of them after the good job that he and his crew have done
of repaving them. I know other good work is being done in the county by the other precinct, and I just thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is routine correspondence, and the only thing I have in the way of routine correspondence is a notice that I received this morning. Many of you will be probably receiving the Combine Volunteer Fire Department will have a barbecue brisket dinner and live auction on Saturday, October 24th. So I wanted to make mention of that if any of you wish to attend. Other than that, that's all that I have. The next item would be the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Just so you will know, it is my intent that we will discuss we will discuss all of these items before we take a break, before we enter into closed session here just in a little while. So the consent agenda item is A, to accept minutes for the August 25th, 2015 meeting, the September the 2nd, 2015 meeting, and the September the 14th, 2015 meeting. Item B is to discuss and consider approving Farmers Electric Cooperative to construct electrical lines within the Kaufman County right-of-way at the corner of Diamond Acres and Neal Road in Kaufman County Precinct Number 2. Item C is to discuss and consider accepting a policy on the Kaufman County payroll changes. And then item D is to discuss and consider approving a request from the High Point Water Supply Corporation to install and bore for a water line across the Samuel Road in Kaufman County Precinct Number 3. Do any of the court members have a question about any of these items on the consent agenda?
We need to make, with the exception of the name change to the September 14 minutes from Lynette Fuller to Linnell Fuller. And I would ask that if the court looks at maybe some sort of court rules, they would please have the person come up, say their name, and then spell it. It would make it a lot easier, because then you can tell it's hard to read some of the writing on these.
Right. We certainly can do that. I have the sign-in sheets. We will provide those to you. And that's a good point, and we'll take, that's something we'll look at today. All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Shane. Do we have a second? Commissioner Allen seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Next item is item 3, and that is to discuss and consider accepting a donation from Carl and Wendy Thomas, a monetary, labor, materials, and in-kind donations for the erection of a memorial for the Kaufman County fallen officers to be located at the Kaufman County Law Enforcement Center, pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 81-032. Do I have any comments or any questions about that item on the agenda? We've already heard some, obviously, during the open forum part of the meeting. But Commissioners, do you have any questions about that?
I have a couple of comments. Since I was personally attacked by Mr. Thomas for some reason, I just want to let the court and the public be on record that I was alerted about the Wednesday night, September 31st, that some type of memorial for law enforcement had been planned at the jail for Thursday morning at 8:30. And having previously missed a similar service at, I think, the flagpole, because for lack of invitation, I intended to show my support and gratitude for our dedicated law enforcement officers by attending. Upon arrival, however, I discovered that a concrete slab and sidewalk had already been poured. But the bigger surprise was a statement by Wendy Thomas that she was building a monument memorial to honor her brother, and it was on county property. This was without knowledge of the Commissioner's Court approval. I immediately conferred with our Commissioner's Court counsel about this and was assured that it would be on the agenda for today's court meeting. I don't appreciate the position that this puts the Commissioners in. I hope you can understand how this appears to the citizens. With this blatant disregard for the authority of this court, hopefully the citizens can now understand the distrust that happens between the departments. If I can't trust everything that officials tell us, it's really hard to trust anything they say. We're supposed to work together for our citizens and the taxpayers, be all inclusive, not have our own political agenda. They're making county government really more difficult than it has to be. I pray that we can come together on this issue. I think we should thoroughly discuss any such project before we make these kind of decisions. You know exactly who's to be honored. Is it all past law enforcement? Is it one particular officer? Is it for officers killed in the line of duty? And as Mr. Myers related, what about our most recent history, our slain district attorney and assistant district attorney? You know, I suggested when we were discussing the bond election for the courts building a memorial inside the building or possibly on the landscape at the building to honor these dedicated officials. There's a lot of things to consider, the size of the project, and my hope is that, my belief is that many more people would like to contribute to this. I know I would. I think this could be a really grand thing. I'm in support of it, but I think it needs to be done with the proper steps. I think, you know, we need to consider the location. I know we now have a site plan for the jail, and to make sure this doesn't interfere with any future buildings, we need to consider the site. Perhaps it would be better to be located near the proposed courts building at some point. I know there's a definite spot for it. Possibly we could work it into the landscape of the new courts building, make it a part of it, make it a really grand thing myself. I'm sure a lot of people would like to donate. I think we need to step back and look at it and discuss it, commission report, have a workshop on it where we can get everybody's input, possibly form a committee of citizens that would be in charge of this and give their suggestions. And like I say, just look at the master plan. And two, like another individual stated, we need to look at the cost of maintenance and you know, where it's at. And we have irrigation to it or electricity for lighting. I just think it's time to stop doing things haphazardly and out of order and put some thought and planning into it. And this evasiveness and secrecy and political posturing is very unproductive and frankly makes the citizens disgusted and I think distrust the county government. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we table this until we can have further discussion, a workshop on it, meeting, maybe form a committee, and do it. Let's do it right. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's not exclude anybody in this county that would like to participate. Because I, for one, would like to participate more in our district attorney.
We have a motion from Commissioner Rosali for this item to be tabled. Do we have a second? I'm going to call for discussion as soon as I have a second. Do I have a second to Commissioner Rosali? Commissioner Shane seconds the motion. Thank you for your comments, Commissioner. Since this has been brought up this morning, I was given or sent a copy of an article that appeared on the website of the Kaufman County Tea Party, and it's relevant to this discussion this morning because it accuses me and Commissioner J.E. Allen of being involved in an illegal act. And I'll just read, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. If you'd like to go to the Kaufman County Tea Party website, you can see it. It's got my picture, which actually is a pretty good looking picture, I thought. So, Ray, thank you very much for that. But it says a whistleblower has informed the Kaufman County Tea Party that the construction of a memorial has begun on county property near the sheriff's office or jail without the knowledge or permission of the county commissioner's court. That's true. It appears that the only commissioners who were aware of the project were County Judge Bruce Wood and Commissioner J.E. Allen. That is not true on my part. Commissioner, is that true on your part? We were asked to attend a picture-taking ceremony that morning of this wonderful memorial that is to be erected at on the jail side. I in no way knew that construction had started. I didn't realize that until I got out of my vehicle and walked to the site where there were several of us that had our picture made, including Commissioner Rumalik, who you also heard this morning. And then the article winds up saying that it is time for the citizens of this county to hold Wood responsible for his serial incompetence, brazen lack of transparency, and habitual disregard for the people who pay the bills. We simply cannot allow our county to continue to be run this way. This is politics, and I understand that. I've made a lot of mistakes and will continue to make mistakes. I'm not a perfect person. I had nothing to do with the approving any memorial that had already started construction at the Kaufman County Jail. And Ms. Thomas, would you verify that I was not contacted about this?
You were not contacted, no, sir.
Sheriff, would you also?
I didn't contact you about it, Judge.
And nor was Commissioner Allen contacted?
No.
So, Mr. Myers, you are the president of the Kaufman County Tea Party. This came out, it's not signed by anybody. I would expect a retraction. Whether you were willing to do that, I'm not sure. But I wanted to clear that up because that is not true. And when you besmirch my name and the county commissioner, Mr. Allen, that's not appropriate. So, we have an item on the agenda. We have a motion pending. Further discussion from anyone before we vote?
Judge, could I say something?
Yes, Sheriff. You may mention on your area that you operate.
This is my fault. When Wendy came to me and talked about this, and we talked about it, I failed to tell her that it had to be come before Commissioner Court. Because it was not our donation, not being donated to us. I never thought of that. So all of this hoorah here is my fault. Not intentionally, it was oversight. I should have apprised her of the law. I did not do that. I did not think about that. But she in no way was trying to be deceitful or anything. And I don't think any rational person would believe there's some grand conspiracy when every criminal court judge in the DA was invited out there. I mean, it was not. I concede, I'll take blame for it. I should have told her that. I didn't do that. And, you know, they have suffered a grievance, grievous hurt for their family. And I've apologized to them already for that. That was my fault. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sheriff. Mr. Myers, I'll let you speak since I called you out, and certainly I always respect to do that.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Sheriff, for that. I appreciate that. That helps quite a bit. Number one, the first thing that I was talking about when I came up here was transparency. That's all we're asking for. We're not opposed to that memorial at all. Not opposed to it. And the one thing that I want to point out, and this letter's been brought up quite a bit, and I understand that. And it's got Kaufman County Tea Party on it, and I'm the chair of the Kaufman County Tea Party, and I take full responsibility for that. But it does say down here, our enemies and everyone else knows who they are will attempt to characterize the push for transparency and accountability and being disrespectful to the Thomas family loss of their beloved brother and son. We hasten to assure everyone that the Tea Party deeply, deeply respects all men and women who work to keep their homes and businesses and neighborhoods safe. And this in no way is an attempt to besmirch the memory of Skip Thomas. That's in the letter. And I appreciate that. And I understand the grief, and I really do. That's all of us. I have sons myself, and we all do. And so, I just want to make that clear that we do understand exactly where the title stands.
Thank you very much. My question to you, sir, is why before you send out something like this, why would you not at least give me the courtesy and call me and ask me before you print something, or ask the commissioner before you print something that is serially untrue?
Well, I'm not sure it's untrue, Judge.
I'm sure it's untrue.
And well, I mean, we can agree to disagree on that. But the thing about it is, the commissioners didn't know, and the sheriff admitted.
You said I knew and pushed it to, how do you hide something that's going to be constructed in front of the jail? How do you do that? What purpose would I have, or Commissioner Allen have, in doing that? Why would you do that, Ray? Why? I mean, do you like the publicity?
No.
Okay, well, why would you do that then? Answer my question.
We didn't know that it was there. We didn't know that it was there. The commissioners didn't know that it was there. I didn't know.
I didn't know it was there.
Jerry Gonzalez told us that it was there.
I'm sorry. I'm through.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second to any other discussion from any member of this court before we move forward.
I'd just like to address Mr. Thomas' personal attack. I have nothing against him or his son or his daughter. I don't know why he thinks that, this article stems from me. My question to him would be, what does he think is my connection to this? I mean, I found out about it, showed up, and saw exactly what y'all saw. And my question to him and his daughter is, why wasn't the entire court invited to the court?
Commissioner, you have a comment?
Well, I do. Since I just kind of been listening to all of it. I honestly didn't know anything about any of it, so, until I saw it on the agenda. And, I sure apologize, and I feel sorry for y'all's loss. I didn't, but in my respect, we should have a little bit more time to discuss some plans of something going on in county land, and involve the commissioner's court. Not necessarily, it shouldn't, I'm all for a memorial, I have no problem whatsoever with it. But I think it probably needs to involve more people to make sure that we are dedicated to the right cause and the right persons and the right things. And my folder was empty on this agenda item. I saw nothing on the agenda. I had nothing to go back except what I heard this morning. And so I kind of feel like I'm left out in the dark, and it's there. Is it there? I don't know. I'm asking somebody.
The foundation.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I wish somebody had included me. I'd been happy to be included. Really would have.
Mr. Shane?
I want to make a comment about this. When I was in Dallas working, I had about 400 people in Dallas police and was customers. I had all the guys down at the FBI office as customers, also at the federal marshal's office, one federal judge in Dallas, plus the next federal judge down. I did his deputy there also. And lots of people in law enforcement love law enforcement people. They put their lives on the line every day for us. And for us, I didn't even get an invite to this. And that's very sad. I've been very police. I had a fireman come and ask me yesterday, why didn't I know anything about this? And I said, I didn't get an invite. I didn't have anything to know about this. But we want to do something right. I want us to form a committee of citizens in Kaufman County and do this upright and make it the right thing for our people. They deserve better than what we got. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Allen, do you have anything?
Well, I like to echo to Ray or whoever. What I knew was the day I showed up for the dedication, and that's all I knew of it.
and I thought it was a piece of blank land, so that's what I knew when I got there. It's a piece of concrete, and it's great. I think the plan is something the county should be relish around, and we should accomplish this and make it better, maybe than what they had envisioned, with a lot of help from other people and from the county. I think probably it's way late, we've already had this in place. I commend them for wanting to do something, and I'm sorry things kind of got reversed out of order and caused such a hoorah, but we are where we are, so we need to make do with what we have and move forward and get this behind us and work together.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Commissioner Brzalik and a second by Commissioner Shane to table this matter. This will be a roll call vote, so I will start with this side. Commissioner Brzalik, your vote is yes to table. Commissioner Phillips, your vote is
I'll table it also.
your vote is yes to table. My vote is no to table. Commissioner Shane, yes to table. Commissioner Allen. Question.
The purpose of tabling this is what?
We work up a plan and get people,
Possibly form a committee and
and get people involved.
form a plan for
We're
enforcement.
raising money for this county and something like
I just want to know what it's about, and understand the rules going forward with the money, you know. I'm agreeing, I'm saying it should be, but my packet, I wish y'all would have gave me something. Explain to me who you want on it, who's gonna be a, recipient down the road of it, who's gonna select the people that go on, and is it honestly, is it in the proper place? If it should be out maybe it should be in a grander place than it is. How many people visit the jail and where it's at the jail now? How many people visit the jail? I don't. I mean, you know what I'm saying, the only people going in and out of it. I'm trying really hard not to be any kind of disrespect to you all. I'd like to see this move forward, but I want it to be done right.
One more question. Was the money from through the auditor's office for this project?
Commissioner Allen.
Stipulation, your motion was to table it. I'll have to put a timetable, we're gonna table this, I want a timetable put on it, where it's not drug out. This is something that's done quickly, with people involved, and I think one or two of the commissioners should be there, I'm sure. Therefore, we're kept in the loop like we all want to be, and obviously, Thomas's.
They'd like to be kept in the loop.
Yes,
Sure.
Yes.
I think they should be involved. It's your money.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
Sure, Wendy.
Okay, so I'm Vicki Thomas, and I'm apparently the subject of all the controversy. When I approached the sheriff, my father was the sheriff of Dallas County. His father before him served under Sheriff Decker. We are a long-standing law enforcement supporting family. This was erected because I approached the sheriff about doing that. We talked about doing a memorial for the deputies who have passed away. We've talked about doing that since my brother passed away 4 years ago. My mother is not well. My father just suffered his 4th TIA about 2 months ago, and I wanted to see this established before either one of them passed. And I did approach the sheriff. I did kind of push it for that reason only. It's not political. It's not meant to be political. It's to honor anyone who served in their capacity at the Sheriff's Department. Where else would you put a memorial for those who have served in the Sheriff's Department other than the Law Enforcement Center? The VFW, the county fairgrounds, that doesn't make any sense. And I apologize if people were not invited, but we didn't want to violate any open records meeting requirements. My understanding is you can't have more than one person or the judge at the same site, or I'm sorry, 2 people. We had the 2. That's why no one else was included. It was a picture. It wasn't a dedication. It was a picture of the press release, actually. And why are you gonna try and hide something if it's gonna be in the paper? I mean, I didn't communicate fully. I did talk to the sheriff's department, but that's all I need to do. And at this time, I would like to withdraw our donation. My brother was a non-controversial person, and I am not gonna have my family's name drugged down anymore by people who don't care about or respect law enforcement. I want to withdraw it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, your vote, and then we will move on.
Your Honor, I might say, if in fact she is going to withdraw her donation, the agenda item is to discuss, consider accepting the donation. If it's my understanding, there's no longer a tender donation, and I think that's what she's said. If in fact that's right, then any vote is moot.
Okay, so your recommendation is to do
You're done. You're done.
We should not even table it.
Yep, there's nothing to say.
Okay, based on the advice from the DA's office and the statement by Mrs. Thomas, unfortunately, this item will be not voted on, and it's really a sad day in the history of Kaufman County government that this occurred. Item number 4 is item Mike Handler. This is a little easier subject perhaps for us to talk with. He's going to deliver. He's not asking for anything. Mike, thank you for waiting and thank you for being here. From the Kaufman County Children's Shelter Foundation, which you are representing this morning, regarding a proposal for funding for the children's shelter. Correct. Thank you for being here, and we're sorry you had to wait so long.
Good morning, gentlemen. All I'm doing is, you should have a packet for this. We're just recommending that you consider this proposal for the construction of the circular driveway, which will add 8 spaces of parking, which we need absolutely to the shelter. We'll also free the fire zone up, and we'll have better visibility coming in and out of the area where the shelter is. The shelter sits somewhat down, and so it's harder to see as you're getting out. So anyway, that'll help that. It's a 20-foot circular drive.
And this is a proposal that you're raising funds for now, or that you're asking?
We're asking for y'all to fund
Whatever we can contribute.
Yes,
Correct. Commissioners, as you remember, we do have some funds that are on hand that we received from the half credit thing. We've not, we had a request, similar request from the Children's Advocacy Center recently, and this is the second request. And so, Commissioner, do you have any questions of Mr. Cannon before we, he's not asking for action, he's just bringing this to us as a request to consider. But
Figure out all the costs and the factors that if we've got money that's covered by the first time we just do that, if this fund is right.
Did we go through the procurement process?
We have one bid, and we're certainly willing to get a couple more bids.
I'm just asking, is that a requirement for something over $25,000?
Jack, where's Jack?
Well, I mean,
Jack, is this something that we need to procure for the normal procurement process?
Certainly gonna need a figure from the DA's office. I'll view that as probably a public project worked on at a county building. So if we're gonna write the check, I think we're supposed to probably write the county check and we're gonna write a check, is that correct?
Judge,
I don't know.
go ahead, go back up, because you've done the research on this.
Sure. Shed some light on it. Good.
Why doesn't the Naked Children's Shelter go the work that they've done and put into this project? Because they've really brought you guys a pretty good estimate of what they think it's going to cost. Jack reminded me, we really have to make sure that it's not going to accumulate into a project that's going to be considered public works. I think it probably does rise to that level monetarily, but that doesn't mean that we can't take your bidders that you have there and ask them to go through our county bid process. I think logically a lot of them are going to come in first because we've gotten pretty good numbers there, but we would need to go through that process. It's just another
So to answer Commissioner Gonzalez's question, we would have to go to the bidding process, but when the children's shelter asked us to give y'all a real good idea of what it would cost, they went through and got a real good estimate. I would say an exact estimate should be higher than what they presented to do that work. I mean, you've already stated for the record what fund that would come out of, so it's not taxpayer dollars, it's that capital fund. And we've already relayed the opinion that we thought the shelter would fit under that for this procurement. So this gives the court an idea of what the cost would be, and obviously we have to send it back to Jack and then have the bids done. We didn't know else how to tell the shelter to provide you an idea of what it was, besides getting bids, and I can't hear what some loose estimates.
Yeah, that's like, I'd just like to add on my procurement side, since we would be helping writing the check at the end of the day, we have to look for that. Donated, completely, we're not involved, you know, folks can do what they want to do, when it comes to us, we have to write a check sometimes, it's Kaufman County. We have to look at the whole process.
Whether we pay for it or if it's donated, we need to know the total cost because it has to be reported as an asset or addition, improvement.
Right, and they're not asking for action, but all they're asking is just for us.
Well, I think it's great that we took the initiative to get the price. It looks like really, what direction it really is sort of needed, so I appreciate it.
We will follow up and get back, and when we determine exactly how those funds will be distributed. We do have funding in place, I think, around $195,000. That can be used for a variety of reasons. The DA's office has determined that this would be one of the allowed reasons, I believe, that we could do so along with Children's Advocacy Center. So we will get back to you as soon as we can and discuss what we're going to do.
Do we actually, when we receive that money back?
We received last year, $165,000 last year. The year before last, we received $35,000.
This year we're looking at $195,000.
Well, that's how much we have.
I'll have to.
So we already have that.
Yes, so I'll have to
That was
fix
my
it.
question.
I'll have to fix an entry to bring it over. Once that goes.
It's just sitting there. We did distribute, correctly, $10,000 to the Children's Advocacy Center. I thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, the next item is to discuss and consider approving a resolution appointing County Judge Bruce Wood to serve on the Texas Conference of Urban Counties 2016-17 policy. I was contacted by the Urban County group of which we are a member. They're looking for people to serve on this committee. I am willing to serve, and it does take a formal resolution of the Commissioners Court to approve. If you agree with the idea of me serving on that court, I would be pleased to do, or serving not on that court, but on that board, I would be pleased to. No, I'm still have to be appointed. I may not make it. All this does is the formal resolution has to be. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rosales. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No, don't do this too.
I'm with you, okay? Commissioner Phillips, find it a little difficult. Commissioner Phillips makes a motion, do I have a second? Commissioner Shane seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed, I'll pass this one. Only here just a moment. The next item is to discuss and consider awarding RFP number 0215, professional services for management and administration of public assistance and mitigation grants for Kaufman County Office of Emergency Management to H2O Partners. And this is involves the nursing aide, emergency manager, as well as the VA's office who is research this.
Jim, here where we had RFP went out on the street, and all those, Steve put together a committee to review those, and we had proposals from H2O Partners, Jefferson, and 22nd Century. H2O Pope got the best score, and they scored a 95. Basin scored 83, and 22nd Century scored 68. Steve, it's like a good job on that review of those. I would make that recommendation to the board to H2O Pope.
Have any questions? Steve, you have anything to add, Rick?
The only thing that I could add is that this is to assist us in getting as much back in reimbursement for the disaster recovery efforts as we possibly can.
Questions from any other commissioners? We have a motion from Commissioner Allen to accept this item. Do I have a second? Commissioner Phillips seconds. Motion, any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for everybody's work, and also to Rebecca for assisting. Item number 7, Kaufman County Citizen Safety Concern, the horse racing rodeo located at the end of Travis Lane, off 27 Commissioner's Body, that asked this to be placed on.
Yes, the lady that requested this wasn't able to attend. She had some other things. And I think we heard from citizens of that road. And I requested this call log from the sheriff to find out, if indeed they were the reasons called out, what the nature of the calls were.
Is this all?
That's all. January 1, Bowie last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday.
Just for that place?
That's for Bowie, called it on Bowie Lane and Travis Lane.
Thank you.
That is a sore spot to us out there. We have to, dedicate resources out there to it. When highway patrol is available, they come out and help us. Leave comfortable, citizens want to help some. The problem is horse racing per se is not illegal. There are probably a lot of illegal things going on in there. We did shut down and we assisted the federal government and state in shutting down the horse track on 118. Just let that spill. Like a case of what? It just went away. But we dedicate what resources we can. We can go over these. If you look, the first call sheet you have is on January 21st of 2015 at 1:22. The complaint is vehicle blocking roadway. There were cars blocking her drive, trying to get to the horse races, can't get out of the driveway. We made a call at 13:26, 1:26. Deputy Dickey went out and he spoke with, they have off duty. I believe there's Smith County officers working security inside there. He spoke to one of the security officers and asked them to get out there and direct traffic, with the people keep it in there. It's a public roadway, the people were actually in line of traffic. There's nothing that we can do other than to try to, get them to do that. Second one we have is on February the 8th. It's at 6:38 p.m. when it's an assault. Complainant advised it was an assault, does not need EMS, but is requesting a deputy. Both parties are still on the scene. Deputy McKenzie got there at 6:58. I don't know what happened on that. The criminal record report, this is what I got off on the call. On April 19th, the next call is cleared by public service. It's a telephone call. Got some kind of inquiry. Sergeant Kelso tried to call them back at 3:03 202, went to voicemail, we never got it. The next one is on 419, vehicle blocking roadway. Call note for park photos blocking roadway, owners can't get out of residence, traffic back up to 28. Deputy Carlisle again, when I got there at 229, traffic moving, but at a slow rate, they're going to the horse. Next one is on 614, 309 p.m. 109 p.m. I'm sorry. Was cleared by public service with the phone call. Wants to know if they are letting people have the horse race again. Deputy Carlisle contacted them, when they contacted the caller, advised the sheriff has not closed the horse race track, we don't have authority. Advised the caller that they may want to see civil remedy on that. Next one is on 622 at 1:08 p.m. Horses out, cows out. You can see there that round horse out. I don't think that we ever found a cow. But you can see there where we called, contacted people, and finally did locate the horse on the call number there. Next is on August 25th. Patrol, there was no call though, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. They may have been calling in for extra patrol because of the horse races. They may have been calling, they're going to be out of town. People call in when they're going to be gone after extra patrol to their house. I don't know which one that is. That's kind of a generic thing. The next one is on N1 at 357. Extra patrol, want to see what can be done about traffic. As long as on traffic lane toward the end, left side. Deputy Dominguez went out to patrol Travis Lane, no large amount of traffic, or 5 to reserve, cleared, no report. The last one I think is on N4, traffic control, reckless driver. Vehicle speeding on private lane, horse races, all advised that we're always speeding, follow it. I believe we'll have to control and.
What's that dog? How do you get there?
Pardon?
That's that dog will give you. Time you get there, they
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they've been in the radio station, they're racing too long,
we try to keep up resources we can out there, but, obviously we can't keep somebody out there all the time. And, we're very sympathetic. It would be a big burden on us if it was different from them. But like I said, we went through all this with 10118, and, we probably seized about 10 or 12 big rigs and had all that stuff out there, and the federal government just, they give it back. I don't know what happened. I know I actually seized the gate out there, it was about $25,000 cash money for the gate. I don't know if I get the money back or not, we should have been anyway, this is a thing, that the act itself is not a violation, but there are, I'm sure, criminal acts. That's why we don't allow people to work. We will not let people work these things because they get people from all over the county.
It almost have to be an undercover.
Pardon?
It would almost have to be an undercover.
Oh, yeah, and it takes, a lot of resources to do that, because we're gonna have to have, people out there almost every time to try to identify the people. And typically what they're doing, they're taking bets along the rail, and then they go pay off along the rail. So you gotta have somebody there, and we've got, quite frankly, there's officers out there that are facilitating criminal act. And that's why we don't let our people work there.
Sheriff, I have a question. Have you contacted the Texas Racing Commission to, because the guys come out there that have a trainer's license for a pari-mutuel track, they can take them away from them.
Yeah, well, they don't have any license out there like that, and that's what they call a brush track.
No, that's no last deal there.
Most of them don't have driver's license. It's one of those things to do. Like the racetrack used to be over in town before it's cut down, you know, it's something we have to work every time it's there. We're going to continue to do it.
Can you put a patrol unit out there on the days that?
We try to, but you know, again, that depends on our call load and how many people we got on. And, I think when the highway patrol was not having to rotate so much to, the border, you know, they would periodically come out there and help us with stuff and that. And if you know, that most of these calls are made very quickly. And we're answering these in a very timely manner. So we've got somebody, in the area, I think on a couple of them, we were out there on the street somewhere. But again, you know, if you've got those wash drags, trailers backed up to, you know, 27, 28 all the way down there, and people coming out, it's pretty hard to monitor anything.
3/10 of a mile of traffic. So
Yeah.
that's why the citizens are.
Well, I agree. I would be very upset about it, but, you know, again, legally, there's nothing to do it. It wouldn't be any different than being on 243 with some traffic accidents. But we do normally try to contact the security people and ask them to, you know, get out and help people get out.
What about
with their
organization like the Humane Society or something that takes care of the animals?
I'm sure they're out there. You know, they were just, they have investigators, and if there is any violation, they will call us, and we go with them. If I had a better solution, I would certainly do it, because it's a real problem.
All right, so as we move along, is there any action that you had in mind?
Well, I was just basically asking for some patrol units if they have available to put out there on the race days. I think that's what
We
the
do.
citizens.
Maybe the constable also.
And they do assistance out there some. You know.
I mean, I don't blame people for being upset.
Oh, I don't either. I can't do anything about it.
I wish that the person that asked me to put this on the agenda would have been able to make it.
Okay. Thank you very much, and appreciate the discussion. We're gonna do one other item, and then we will take a break, because we didn't get to the executive session like I hoped to. We're gonna talk about item number 7, and that is item number 8, to discuss the renewal of interlocal agreement between Lubbock County and the Kaufman County Office for Regional Public Defenders. This is the contract we have with the, we call it murder insurance, where, you know, Lubbock County provides half a murder, and in our case, it has worked out very, very well for us. And so the question is, if you wish to consider this agreement, our cost actually went down, I
Yes,
believe,
sir.
this year.
For the next 2 years, this year, next year, and I've already got it in the budget.
And the state actually kicked in some money so that the counties weren't having to pay all of it, so our costs went down. It's really been a lifesaver. Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Friday, I had something come across my list, or asking about, was this insurance any good, did it help? And the county that I'm talking about had decided not to join because they couldn't raise the $24,000. They couldn't feel like they could split it, and they wound up having like 3 capital murders within the last 2 months, and they're saying they wish they had been.
And they let you join retroactive.
No, not after.
Yes. Kind of like the insurance of that out there. Yeah. Down the red. What's your pleasure on item number 8? Commissioner Shane makes a motion, Commissioner Raleigh seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. We're going to take about a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back on item number 9.
I have to go. Okay, I'm going to make some. I gotta go. All right, you know, we're going to make it.
report back to order. Thank you very much. I know the district attorney needs to go to another meeting, I think, here momentarily, and so I think.
No, Judge, I've been here, not momentarily.
Okay, you're here for a little bit.
I'm here for a little bit, because you're going to go in executive.
Yeah, I need to conduct a couple of other items before we go into executive session.
Yes, that's fine.
The first one would be item number 9, to discuss and consider terminating a county contract with Linewater, Goggin, Larry, and Sampson for collection of the fines and fees for justice of peace precinct 3 and precinct 4. I believe Judge Adams is here this morning.
Thank you, Judge.
And I believe we also have a representative from Linewater here as well.
Yes, sir. Sure do. Mike and I have been talking about this move for several months. We just didn't wake up one morning and say, oh, let's change. But we've been discussing this ever since y'all approved the contract with Purdue for precinct 1 and 2. And we have nothing against Lineberger whatsoever, Jeff, Wade, anybody there. We're just trying to get all together as one group and our collection agency. And we decided to go with Purdue also. I've been talking with the county attorney, Rebecca, to get the contract up, get a contract from Purdue, and get a letter to be sent to Lineberger, hoping they'll let us on a 30-day opt-out of the contract. I think normally, Rebecca, you said there's 60, but we would like 30 days if at all possible. But again, we have nothing against this great company. We've been with them ever since I took office. We have no problem whatsoever. We're just trying to get 1 and 2 and all be one with one contract. That's what I'm asking y'all to do, is to terminate the contract and enter into a new contract with Purdue.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions of Judge Adams before he sits down? Next would be Wade Gent, who is representative of the Linewater Fund. And Jeff, you've heard the comments, and so we'll anything what you think.
Yes, thank you, Judge and Commissioners. First, let me start off by saying that it's been our honor and privilege to represent Kaufman County, not only in the realm of the delinquent crimes of each of the JP precincts, but also in the delinquent property taxes as well. And we're happy to have that work, and we feel like we provide the service for the county. I think there's a couple of things that I would like the Commissioners to consider before voting on this issue. First, when 3 or 4 years ago, this contract came up for a bid, and the submissions were made, and there was quite an extensive process. I think it took about 6 months. During which time there was a committee appointed and presentations given, all the data with respect to past performance, not only in Kaufman County, but comparative numbers between the firms and other counties. And Purdue and Lineberger, Goggin, and Sampson, firms that I work with, as well as a couple of other firms, made submissions. After that lengthy process, which I recall was quite painful for everyone involved, the committee, I believe, recommended to keep all precincts with Lineberger. At that time, kind of an agreement was made that it might be more beneficial in terms of revenue to have the precinct split so that there might be some competition between firms, maybe promote the revenues. Anyway, and so it's my understanding that was the reason that we ended up splitting in the first place. But now fast forward, here we are. I don't know that any procurement process has been done, and understanding this is a professional services contract, so it's not required to go out for bids in the way that other types of work in the county would. But in light of the fact that this was done fairly recently, and that all of the data was collected and examined, I think we would like the opportunity. I know that Judge Adams indicated that this is something that's been discussed for a while, but as far as we knew, everything, we were doing a great job for the county, everything was going fine. The first we heard of this was last week when it showed up on the agenda. So I think what we would request is that the commissioners table this issue. If we're going to compete or we're going to compare, let's compare apples versus apples, make sure that all the data is matches and that we can compare numbers, because at the end of the day, the name of the game for the courts, as well as this court, is it going to increase revenue for the county? And I feel like the numbers that we've been providing to the county support remaining with Lineberger. And I think that once there's some problems with regard to comparing the same data, because I think there's been some snafus with respect to how data gets collected from some of the precincts and so forth. So I think in all fairness, and not just in fairness to the firms involved, but also a taxpayer that's coming in fairness to the taxpayers, the court, we would request the court table this, have a couple of weeks or longer to make sure that we can provide the court with the data so that the decision can be made with regard to not politics, not a question of who likes to do better, but a question of who's going to be most effective at generating more revenue for the county. And I believe that the court, once they see the numbers, will determine that keeping the contract with Weingarten is going to benefit the county more than determining. So that's all. If there's any questions, I don't have all the data with me because we didn't have time to prepare for an actual presentation. But if the court has any questions, we're happy to answer.
Anybody have any questions?
I'd like, Judge Adams.
Or Judge Adams?
Yeah. I'd like you guys to respond to the apples deal. You're the one doing it, not me. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, it is our offices that do this, questions, times, and fees, and everything, and it's not just, I don't do them, but this young lady along with two other ladies in the office, I work with him every day, and do all the documentation. Again, I texted Jeff Brown, last week, we do not want to table this, I talked to Mike about this, and we want to get forward, get moving with the new contract, and hopefully with IT and Purdue assistance, the transition will be easy. We don't want it to make it more difficult, especially in collections, but we would like to move forward, and this is our decision to change custody. And like I said, I have all due respect for Wade and Jeff and Lineberger, no problem. We're just trying to sink it into one, all four precincts, that's all we're trying to do.
Judge, before you sit down, George is here, I may want to ask George as well. Has there been some sort of communication issue with the other firm that, and I'm not sure, George, come on up. I was informed last week that there's been some sort of data communication issue with what was going in from the other firm. George, can you clarify that?
First of all, I met with the judge and I said what the judge wants us to do, and you guys voted on it. Our job is to do our level best to be successful.
Right.
As far as the project, we have no knowledge of it, we have no numbers, no analytics. I'm sure they've done the due diligence, I'm sure they're making the right decision, but I don't know. Our job is to support what they should. To your question, yeah, there was an issue with data. With the first two that signed on, we're trying to work that out at this moment, but I'd rather not review into that in great detail.
Would that have skewed the numbers? Okay, would not have skewed the numbers. Okay, so.
The only thing it would do is, Dan mentioned, when I met with Dan, that he was not able to collect for precinct 1 due to the error. And we're working through that now. But the facts are, I have no information on collection rates, success rates, and we'll do what we can do with it.
Judge, you're good with, you believe that your selection made and your process working with the other two precincts would be made.
I truly believe that. Again, there might be some attitudes in the very beginning, but I mean, IT is great at what they do, and they really can get this fixed really quick. Again, when they work with the companies like Purdue, Dan Rhodes here from Purdue, and if all the data is collected, it should be a smooth transition. Unlike when we did, as Wade was talking about, that was a big headache. That was a big headache. And it wasn't just me, it was the ladies I worked with. That was very time consuming. And we just wanted to do something simpler and get all over one page.
So if the court approves this, what it in essence would do is move all of the tax collections to, not tax collections, but all of the fines and fees to one firm.
Yes, sir.
And the collection would stay with the other, tax collection would stay with the other firm. That comes under the business bachelor.
Yes.
Anybody else have anything that they'd like to discuss, Commissioner?
I want to respect the judge's wishes and make a motion to approve the contract.
Okay. All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Rosales that we terminate the contract with Linebarger as soon as the details are worked out with the district attorney's office to terminate that contract. Do I have a second? We have a second from Commissioner Shane. Do we have further discussion? Jack, do you have something? I'm sorry.
I'd just like to say something since he mentioned procurement on it. I'm in clear here. I'd just like to add that about 3 or 4 years ago, we went out to bid proposal, and the committee selected my partner. My job is to protect the county. Committee selected my partner, and then there was a part in the person of the vendor. And so then the decision was made, let's split up the two. The second choice was Purdue at the time. Purdue was third. I'm not anything against Purdue, don't know those folks, I'm sure they do work. But the decision was made to have 2 contracts and compare the two. And I think in all fairness, when we did that, I saw Linebarger for every quarter getting a report. Never saw a very really good thing. And all of a sudden, when I had to with Linebarger, normally when you have a contract that you're not happy with, there's a discussion, you call folks in and discuss that, do kind of clean up there. I just think kind of terrain, I'll make sure that I'm not part of this, because we have them from the very beginning, in the correct way, back in the good old days, when we had to have meetings, we talk about things, and everybody's opinion, that things that have changed. I wish we could give folks opportunity to clean up the problem if there was a problem.
Again, there is no problem with Linebarger.
I didn't mean to interrupt there, but the goal, we had one come to do it all. Now we want to get one come to do it all again. We had that before, and we split up to get competition, and alter that much.
Okay, now one goal, Jack, is the same thing, isn't it? Same goal, same thing. To replace our fines and fees. That's all we're trying to do.
I like that. It's your deal. I just think it's kind of bad when you cancel the contract, and then there's really no reason to cancel it, other than you want to go have one person do it all, and it's where you work one time.
That's your opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Jim?
No, I think we have a motion and a second. We have a discussion among the board members. I think this valid point raised out of the way. Still think there may have been some issues with the data that was collected at one time, but that's beyond my level of knowledge about that. George is the expert on that. But anybody else have anything to say before we vote? Okay, all in favor of canceling the contract with Linebarger, Goggin and Blair, if you would raise your hand. And those against? Item carries, and so we will go with item number 10. And that is to discuss and consider entering into county contract with Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott for collection of fines and fees for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3. Johnny, do you want to hang on just a second while we're, and you maybe need to get to court? I believe Mr. Romo is here this morning. Would you like to come up and introduce him to the court and Mr. Romo? I don't want to drag this out, but it would be nice if at least to have a few words from the firm that will now be collecting all of our
Gentlemen, this is Dan Romo. He's with Purdue, Brandon, Fisher, Collins, and Mott. And he is with Precinct 1 and 2 at this time, and this is the company we're trying to go with for Precinct 3 and 4. Thanks.
Again, my name is Dan Romo, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have regarding our collection efforts for 1 and 2, and hopefully for 3 and 4 here. Just to kind of clarify a little bit, as far as the data, there was some issues with data we have collected for both Precinct 1 and 2. We are, working with that, and as George had mentioned, there's not going to be any issue at all with us giving any of the data from Precinct 3 or 4. That's not a problem at all. We're very sophisticated in our abilities to be able to work with the Odyssey software. So I want to assure the court that we're not having any problems there. And again, it is our increase the collections. That's the whole reason why precinct 3 and 4, we're looking at us as trying to increase, trying to do something different, trying to shake the tree a little bit and increase revenues so we can try to collect more money for the county. At some point, we can be evaluated. I feel fairly confident that we'll be able to come back to y'all and be able to show our numbers and show that we have increased collections. Of course, we need a little time. Obviously, we have somebody that's been in there for a while, and we're the new kid on the block. It's going to take us some time, but rest assured that we'll be able to come in here. We're going to be fully accountable. We'll be able to show you gentlemen our numbers and how well we're doing for the boards. And we'll be able to show you that you guys are doing a good job.
That was going to be my question. What kind of report the Limewater firm would come in, I believe, every 3 months or so, would give us an update on collections compared to the previous year?
Now, was that for delinquent property tax, or was that for the just
the fines and fees?
Okay.
Am I correct on that?
Yes, Judge, even the precincts that we didn't represent.
Right. Is that something that your firm would be able to provide with us? And I would like to have that written into the contract, Rebecca, if we could do that we would get a quarterly report as compared to the prior year.
That's not a problem at all. We can provide quarterly reports to the Commissioners Court. We also provide monthly reports to the Justice of the Peace Courts as well. So they're getting reporting on a monthly basis as well. So if anybody ever has any questions then on a monthly basis and verify what our efforts are. And we're more than glad to go ahead and provide quarterly reports to the Commissioners Court as well.
Well, if you do it monthly, that's fine. So I mean, it can be good to have. Yes.
Limewater always send us a monthly report to the auditor's office, so we can actually write the checks out of JPs for the fees, so we need that too.
Okay. Right. That'd be something we work with the DA's office, getting that into the contract, if it's not already.
Sure, we always have checks and balances whenever we send the report. We're always making sure that the report are lining up with what the auditor's office has and all that. So standard protocol for us to be sending that information to auditors as well. We're more than glad to include that in the package. It won't have percentages and stuff of that nature, so if you want us to go ahead and provide a performance report on a quarterly basis, so you can have numbers, everyone likes to see those numbers. So if you all see numbers, we'll be more than glad to show you some numbers as well.
All right, anybody else, any other questions? Anybody? All right. Yes, Rebecca.
One quick point, because the other two precincts are also using Purdue, would the court like to combine contracts and do one for all four? And then you could add the monthly report requirement for all four precincts.
Makes sense to me to do that way. Yeah.
What's your thought?
Yes, that would be fine, so that way.
Is there a conflict here?
Right, yeah. I mean, the whole point was to have some continuity.
Yeah.
And so if it's just easier that way, we're not struggling with two different contracts. If it's the wishes of the county, we're going to combine the contract, just start fresh and have those certain provisions that we set forth in there as far as some of the quarterly reports.
Right. We have a motion. Anybody, you made a motion, you seconded it?
No, made a motion.
All right. Another question before we have someone make a motion. If not, I'll entertain a motion to enter into a contract with Purdue, Brandon, Field, and Collins, subject to the discussion we've had here in court today. Commissioner Phillips makes that motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Allen seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor, I'll ask you to raise your hand if you're in favor. Show a unanimous vote, including the judge as well. So look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Johnny, we'd love for you to stick around a little while.
Thank you very much. This is most of it, my
All righty, we will now entertain a motion to exit into executive session. We actually have, I believe, 4 items that we will be discussing in executive session. first one, that I would like to do, and this is at the request of Judge Wiley.
Doesn't matter, Judge, I'm here for the whole thing.
Okay, so you're good to go, okay. Well, let's go ahead and, I'll have a motion for someone to go into, closed session, and Mr. Allen. Commissioner, Phillips. And the time is 11:12. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed. So,
Sheriff, did you make sure that the kitchen area is clear?
yeah. And, we will discuss item number 17, which is to discuss and consider taking any action needed as a result of the executive sessions. And we had 4 items we discussed in executive session. I will entertain a motion, any motions that the Commissioners Court would like to make in regard to item 1 concerning, item number 12 concerning the ATS contract.
I like the motion we enter to contract with Prater Law Firm to look at
Prater Money.
Prater Money.
Prater Money, M-O-N-I-N-G.
Look at our contract.
We have a motion from Commissioner Allen and a second by Commissioner Phillips. We have any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? On item number.
I'm sorry. You're going to approve entering into a contract with Prater, and I'll get that information to review.
Contract. ATS contract.
All right, on item number 13, I don't believe we have any action to report on that. On item number 14, considering the potential purchase of property, do I have a motion concerning that?
I'll make a motion that contract with possible purchase of property.
All right, and they enter into a contract with, have the district attorney's office draw up a contract to do that. We give the county judge the authority to decide that contract. Get that down tomorrow.
No, because I had what he had, motion, do you want to say motion to approve a contract with John Mosley to possibly purchase is what he said, what you
What we're doing, we're approving entering into a contract with John Mosley.
Judge can sign.
That the county judge can sign to assist the county in purchasing real property, real estate. And we have that motion from Commissioner Shane. Did I hear a second? Commissioner Allen, second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. All righty, the last item in the executive session was to discuss personnel matters relating to the duties of the county treasurer's office. And I believe we will have no action on that. Is that correct? Correct. So we entered, we exited the executive session. We've now made those motions and item number 17. So now we're down to item number 18, and that has to do with approving line item transfer. Is that ever popular subject?
We have none this time.
We have none, and I understand we're gonna have a meeting to look at next time, probably, if we wind up here. So, there's nothing to approve, so we will move now, to item number 19, and this is from our auditor, Mrs. McLeod, to discuss and consider approval of an IRS payment after reviewing findings from an audit, IRS audit for 2013.
Not one of those favorite topics. Yeah. What did you explain to you about this? Yeah. went through a pretty extensive audit. It was supposed to be only a 1099 audit, wound up being W-2s and APs, and she found some things that she took issue with, and had a lot to do with the travel of department heads and elected officials, and why things weren't signed and stuff, and we explained that. 2013 was a new year for me, so we started requesting that request and backup for why people were going to schools and stuff, so she didn't really like that explanation, but I guess she accepted it. They were talking about employer-provided vehicles, commuting to and from work was considered personal use, even if the employee was on call 24 hours a day. Day meals, most of the time when you're going out of travel, the day of travel and the day coming back is $23, and then any days in between is $46. There was a couple of times that some people had went to a school, but they came back the same day and they had sent in reimbursements of $23. So she took a little issue with that. The uniforms, like I already told y'all, was probably going to come up with Road and Bridge. The shirts had to implement say Kaufman County, Road and Bridge, whatever you have on it. They're saying the pants with blue jeans, they don't carry a readily distinguishable logo or employer's name, and they're going to tax us on those blue jeans in this audit. They want it to be taxable to the employee, which means it has to be reported to the W-2. So we might want to get Jack to see what we can do about that.
So could we have all these blue jeans embroidered with something at the top that says Kaufman County?
If it's readily distinguishable, yes.
They all have tags on them. They already have uniform, name, tag. With the ID number, you can't
see them on the pants. You can't see them.
I know they're on outside. You can't see it. You're a public, can't see it. Well, they have put belts on them, yeah. And they're pretty, they're not exactly pretty jeans. They're genetic jeans. They're not Levi's or Levi's and all like that. They're working jeans.
So, y'all remember we talked about that before, they're Wranglers, this is about, y'all thought Wranglers.
Yeah, these are Wranglers.
Somebody must have Wranglers.
Yeah. Ours are regular, no wearing pants. So this material.
Well,
I guess they've changed them because they probably had this too much, so they've changed them into a real work pant instead of a.
Yeah, if you have a work pant, it might be a shaky thing. Like Lucy, they feel like they can wear them anywhere. It is.
I know that the other thing, the cotton, when you're working in asphalt, they'll work with it.
all right, so 1099 vendors. A 1099 vendor means that you don't provide them a place or things to work with. They come in here, they are a contractor because we hire somebody to paint, he goes out for a gig, this is a painter. They bring their ladders, they bring their hot cloths, they bring their brushes and their tools. Some of our vendors were not set up correctly in the old accounting system, and we did the conversion. It was probably just like it was. Some of the people didn't get 1099s that were supposed to. They taxed
Well, we don't
us.
send, that's individual, that corporation would send it to them.
Corporation, yeah, we don't have to.
Okay.
Law firms that are partnerships, LLPs, things like that, are 1099s.
Also, actually, the contract with you directly, but start directly, he's an employee then,
Thanks to Ms. Brenda Murphy that does the cleaning for the camp office, and thanks to Dr. Jimmy Davis, I got the IRS to knock off only $200 because they came in and brought me copies of their tax return and showed their 1099 we had written up, and that they could claim that amount on their income tax. So That was good. A lot of the vendors that y'all were using back 2008, 2005, up to 2012, some of those vendors we don't even use anymore. They've closed business, they've changed names. We couldn't even, we got things back in the mail when we sent them 4669 for them to say, yeah, we claimed it. So she dinged us on the back of the total for that, whether they paid their income tax or not.
And this is back in 2000. Why didn't they catch it before?
IRS is always 2 to 3 years behind.
I mean, our auditor, our outside auditor, if they knew the
The
law.
auditors look at our 1099s, they look at our W-2s to see if they balance to our general ledger, and the number of employees, and the wages were reported, and all the 941s, the FICA, Social Security, and Medicare, and things are reported. We have so many vendors, there's probably no way they could check those vendors, all of them.
Isn't that their job, is outside auditor? Make sure we're following the government required
It probably
procedure.
will be now, since I informed them that we got audited. One of the problems were that they did think this was a little bit over the hill on what they requested from us. So
it's audit, outside auditing firm's responsibility to alert us to the facts on a yearly basis when they present their audit, right?
if they found that fountain, finding, yes, sir, they will.
We need, that's their job, that's why we're paying them.
Their job is to make sure that we have audited, reconciled the bank accounts, we have recorded all the debt, we've made all the payments necessary, and we haven't misappropriated funds.
Oh, so that's not their job.
No, sir. They will ask to look at them, and they have. We have provided them to them. One of my staff members come and apologized. She's the senior staff member. She didn't even know what constituted a 1099, and she was responsible for setting people up to pay for it. And that's part of the issue. When you set up a new vendor.
There's a whole lot of individuals in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what it is.
We had one county agent that had claimed exempt on their W-4, and you can do that. It's really not good to do that, but if you do it, you have to submit that form to HR every year. You can't just keep relying on that form. You know, back in 2010, you were exempt from any taxes and carry it forward. It's going to have to be fixed. We had 2 part-time deputy marshals that were paid out of the fire code fund when they came in and worked part-time in the office, writing permits for fireworks and stuff. And that's the way they had been set up by insistence that they didn't need to do payroll. They are employees because we provided them the office space, the phone, the desk, and everything to work with. So everybody's getting an education. Commissioner Court appoints the county health officer. He actually takes an oath. We pay him a certain amount every year. He's an employee. He has to put in payroll. Because of these different little findings, our original penalty was $521,000. I begged for an additional 10 days, and all my staff put everything aside but payroll did. And we wrote letters and sent forms to everybody that we had an address with, and we got it down to $170,000. So that's a substantial savings. Do I like it because we're having to pay them? No. But because of the issues we had, everybody in our AP system has been set to a 1099. I ain't telling you this in a minute. And the IRS agent told me if we want to appeal, we have those rights. I have printouts to tell us how to do it, but she will be here to do 2014 to 15 because she knows if 2013 was wrong, 2014, and possibly 2015 will be wrong.
And the tax will be paid by 14, or they will fine us instead.
Yeah, she's off today, and she's gonna call me tomorrow, because I had asked the judge to put this on as an addendum, so we could get it paid, so we don't owe any additional penalties or interest, as they will. Another interesting fact that came up through this audit, when I looked through some of the vendors, we record the JP checks for y'all as manual checks and show you what we paid to the county, and what we paid to the school, and what we paid to the tax assessor for attorney fees. They dinged me on $1.3 million that was paid to Warren through the tax assessor collector. As the tax assessor collector receives all the tax money from all the entities that we collect for, and she writes checks out. So she went in and wanted to print out the tax assessor's bank account so she could see all those checks. Weinberger was the truth, because he called me and emailed me. He said, "Karen, this ain't right. You sent me checks for $165,000, but your tax assessor sent me $1.3 million, and I've got to make this right." So he sent me back and put on the right amount, and then she took it off. Weinberger's not a corporation, they're an LLC, but they make it as So, a little bit of education trying to get this fixed. That's why I want another separation of duties in that position that won't be doing payroll, but actually, they'll be setting up the vendors, and they'll be requesting a W-9, or they won't get a check from us. So we do.
And I think we found out also that this IRS, we're not the only county that's being audited by the IRS.
I got people calling me, "How'd you do? You did them 10 things, help me."
And they're also auditing cities, and water districts, school districts, and all kinds of people. So this is going to be
Now, on a good note, no,
well, we need to take action, allowing you to pay this.
well, I want to tell you when we get the money to pay this.
Okay. Well.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you can do that. We still got to do it.
Sure, do it the way you feel you need to do it, Judge.
Well, let's go ahead. We know we've got to pay it, so let's go ahead with it. The good news is we do have the ability to do that. So, do I have a motion to pay the amount of $170,785.02 to the Internal Revenue Service after the findings from the audit of 2013? We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips, second from Commissioner Raleigh. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Okay, now.
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to give you a little scenario of how we're closing out the year. General fund collected $35,238,000. General fund expenditures are at $34,159,000. So you see the difference, the extra money? Right, I have not accrued payroll. I have 8 days to accrue, but it's not going to get into that million that much. Follow what I'm saying? She started this audit in September. I'm going to book the liability in last year's because we have this increase. Now, this is not all the money that's coming in and not all the expenditures. Please be aware of that. I think Commissioner Shane and Commissioner Rosalick has been this while. I've given them 2 or 3 for the end of the year so they can see all the stuff coming in. We still have some quarterly payments that'll be coming in on this next pay statement, October's that we show. We have 1 billing left for the feds as of September. Should be anywhere from $180,000 to $190,000.
That is not sure.
That is not in this. We haven't recorded it because Brian hasn't sent me the invoice yet, so I'm going to borrow $15. All right. Medical, I told you we're going to get about $80-something thousand back. We haven't received that yet. They have agreed to pay it sending them in the bill. They wanted the hospitals to send in the bill. That way they had everything recorded, everything that prisoner received, testing, shots, whatever. Yeah. So that's what they requested. So Brian's working on getting that for them. They did reimburse us for some of the transport. We got that last week. So, and Ms. Carter is working on some additional grants. Williams, there's a possibility we'll get almost another $110,000.
I think that's very, very great possibility.
Yes. Brownlow, there's probably about $180,000. Okay, that we'll probably receive from that. Now that'll have to be split a certain way according, because part of it's going to be prosecution and other parts of defense. I think that's what she told me, Judge, when we met with her last week.
Well, those expenses that hit this budget, we pay, but we're asking through the Indigent Defense Commission as well as the Governor's Office on the Criminal Justice reimburses for those expenses. And that's where Representative Spitzer's lady Robert went down with Pam. And it may take an appearance before the position, actually get them to vote on it, but all the indications are that they're going to pay us back. It's just a matter of getting it. So that's good. So we've had an unusual year, you know. We've had the murder cases. We've had a lot of things that hit us that we really weren't prepared for. But the good news is we're praying over a substantial amount of money.
So, I wanted you to be
And
able
this
to...
is in addition, I want to make sure everybody knows, this is in addition to the fund balance we already have. So who knows what it'll be by the time the outside auditors get through leaving the money around and working with Karen, but it should be $1 million. Pretty much.
All right, in Judge Wood had mentioned to me, because you're all working on the roads, and this is the time to get it done for the rain, that there's possibly like the general fund, you know, what you said, could flow.
Yeah, and that's why we can't vote on that today because it don't. I talked to Karen. Right now, you know, we've still got some good weather. And I know all of you are struggling with monies, you know, right now for supplies and material. I talked to Karen if we can do so legally, and she'll find that out about loaning your road and bridge funds some money out of the general fund. And then when your tax money comes in, you would pay the general fund back. That would give you some more money right now to have before the, you know, this El Nino moves in, like they're talking about. We may have another wet rain.
But at the conference last week, you know, the Daphne and the climatologist said, beginning mid-November, it's going to be getting wetter than normal, and stay that way through the winter, through the spring, and into next summer.
So if that would help, making sure we can legally do it, which I think we can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, we put that on the agenda and then let y'all approve it. You would have money now that you ordinarily wouldn't have. So we'll, you know, do some additional work that you want to do.
And you need to understand, like on these Williams and the Brownlow, I put that, record that in a separate fund because those are grant monies that we receive. It's not in the general fund, but that bank account's in a negative, so the general fund has to transfer money and loan it till we get the money, and that's why there's going to be extra money coming back to the general fund because we'll reimburse it. So, anyway, yes, sir.
The question I would ask the judge was, you know, we've done a situation where we got a loan with the bank to pass possibly also do that.
We could. This way, though, we don't have to pay any interest. Yeah.
I just want to have options.
Right. We do have other options, but this would be the easiest, quickest, and we get it done fairly quick, and then you guys can get the money and start using it. You'll have to sign an IOU or something.
I'll make them sign it, but.
Can I sign
someone else's name?
Yeah.
Somebody else.
So you'll notice on the third page, I did this also for your road and bridge. We only budgeted $7,050,000 and we got $7,265,000 in the Fund 20. That's where we divide the money out to y'all in different funds. So you can look through that, and if you have any questions on a printout, just let me know, because I can run you details, or KW can run it and email it to you. Then on the last page was your road bond construction monies and your CTERS. And I don't know where you're sitting, but you had like $306,000 in CTERS money. Well, $299,000, we've earned the $6,600 in interest, but it's only $66,600 has been spent. So there might be some other work there that you can get done.
I've completed my CTERS project, and
Just that,
the judge's office has turned it in, but we haven't received it.
yours is pending.
What's the turnaround on that?
Pretty quick, they did it in a couple of weeks. They did
Yeah,
it.
you said, yeah, Ms.
Hey,
Andy
I
gets
should
it,
be
sends it
coming back.
in, we pretty well get it, I'd say 10 days to 3 weeks maybe.
So if you've got that project that you can do, then you know, go ahead. If we get the money back, we'll free.
Okay, that wasn't on the agenda, that was just to
What I
give
see
you
on
some
the
good
CTERS,
money.
grant list is what I've still got, laid on my account on the budget. Whatever was good.
Y'all want
Yeah,
$355?
you still got bills and I still got payroll to record, that shouldn't be too much, it should leave you enough.
Well, that
What I'll-
money's not in the account, you have to spend that money, request
Right.
reimbursement. So it's not money that we can use for anything
No,
else,
but I'm just saying, it's still sitting.
it's available.
Yeah, it's available.
4016 for that.
Okay. The move is 47. We got to approve it.
You need to change it.
If we get it approved.
Yes, it's been approved.
His CTERS road is not 4016, it's 4017.
4017,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll get that fixed. After I get the payroll entrance made for the 8-day approval, I'll probably do another one of these and send y'all an update. It'll say at the top, updated as so you know it's in there. Okay?
One thing I will tell y'all, we started this week, the public is moving in, so this will help out.
Are they moving it in today?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, the bug mill's supposed to arrive this week, so we'll be spending it.
Take a picture so I know what road it is.
We need to come see it in action.
I don't know, operate it, I don't see it.
And I have a corrected number for you too. I told you wrong with that.
See it.
You need to talk to me before you do stuff like that, because I could have double recorded that.
Okay. So,
All right. We already.
we're ready for item number 20, I guess, now, the claim for payment.
All right, your claims for payment are $2,049,479.65. And if you look at your graph, that pie chart, you put those percentages for you.
Helps a lot. Color line.
We had to make our one-time payment on our general liability, our workers' comp, they wait till the end to bill us, and unemployment. So that wound up being about $717,000. Road bond expenses were $458,000. District clerk records preservation was $275,000. That's what y'all agreed together, and we kind of picked at her because the bill was $2,075 and $40 to pay that until we can't pay the 40 before I approved it. So then we had to do our quarterly payments of $61,000. We purchased 2 vehicles for constable 2 and constable 3, amounted to $53,000. So then the inmate housing stuff that they needed. So that's where your $2,049,000 comes from. Anybody have any questions on specific bills? I know it's late, we all want to get out of here. furniture to her own, and about every year she sends us a bill to pay herself back. That's happened many years since she's been here.
Is that consistent with our phone policy, Jack?
It was not, I think this is
I understand that it was grandfathered.
So,
It was grandfathered in, that's what we were told.
So moving forward, is she gonna be held accountable to our new phone
She
policy?
actually sent us, she sent a copy of her bill.
If y'all approve the list, precinct two.
Pardon?
Precinct, talking about precinct two?
Yes.
I guess if y'all add her to the list, yeah, that phone.
She sends the detail of what she's asking to be reimbursed.
Well, what I'm asking, is that consistent with our new phone policy?
It is to be approved, it is to be approved to get a stop. Well, I guess the question is, will she be stopping, like, are we gonna stop her like the rest of those?
Well, I don't know, the rest of the folks received, I've never seen a phone.
She
bill
is
for
the
another-
only one.
For the only other.
That was
The only one I know
That
of.
was some matter
It
this
was like two before, John
Two.
Kerry did.
John Kerry got it? Okay.
before, they heard that too, well,
Probably so. See, you know, that's probably what we need is something consistent, like everybody was trying to get done today, you know? That everybody does the same thing. What would you
So when does that need to be,
recommend?
when does that need to be addressed? At budget time? Or since we passed the new telephone policy? Ever elected official?
Yeah, that comes out of the technology budget. The technology,
but it doesn't follow.
Doesn't follow our policy.
not policy.
And our back, you gotta get
For a
forward.
while, so that office doesn't. For a while. Separate, working them out of the hill fund.
But none of the other stations do that, right? Or is it just because they don't request it, or because they're not aware of it? Rebecca, does JP2 have a, some other type of phone policy to abide by, other than our county policy?
My understanding is,
JP2, I guess it's been several years back, didn't want to have a county phone, but she was allowed to turn her phone bill in and be reimbursed.
you have something else to change.
Yeah, you got to court with
For us.
the commissioner.
Long before we got here.
Yeah, that's something about
That's relevant.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but
I think years ago, she didn't want a county phone. And it felt like
So it was approved.
I'm pretty sure it was. Well, I don't know record. We can.
Well, here's the thing about it, is if she go up to the new policy, you make more money. 'Cause this once a year, she goes to the next year.
She does it every 6 months.
Yeah.
Every 6 months.
About every 6 months, we'll get a bill, copies of the bills from them.
But see, but they're getting, it was paid for out of her fund. That's part of the reason it's allowed to do that. Was not impacted. I think way back when we decided who's gonna get a phone, they were allowed to do what they wanted to do.
It's kind of like the
Wasn't
sheriff.
impacted much.
They don't do anything.
Yeah, the sheriff's department pays for their own.
They got a seizure, so she's paying her.
I think the clerk is going to check the past minutes.
But I remember being in that committee, and the sheriff pulled out, and I think the JP stuff that too.
Okay. All righty, so we have any other questions about the claims payment? Any other items? All right, I'll entertain a motion to pay the Shane, do we have a second? Shane, Commissioner Allen? Second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed? Before we adjourn the regular meeting, I believe Lori has given you a copy of the people that applied for the facilities director. I would encourage you, when you have a chance, to look those over. We'll probably get back together and have a workshop, interview, see who can on that, whatever. We just had so much of it going on. We had 9 people. We applied for it.
Laura, I didn't count.
Thank you. 9 people applied.
Yes.
So we'll get, y'all look over our ad and get all right, I have a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Phillips makes a motion, do I have a second? Commissioner Allen seconds the motion, all in favor, say
Yeah, that's.